Alright, these will be the people news. One more time. Alright, so this is going to be part 2 of the last video I put on there. About the aamva. Alright. Again, this video is without prejudice and recourse, that I'm reserving all my rights. Alright. Just a reminder, when you guys checked it out later, I just want to remind you guys on a TV series, if you can find it again, Continuum, CONTINUUM. Alright, look at it into a different light, as the United States is the corporation she's talking about in that movie. Guterres is the republic. Alright, and then you got everybody else is just sheep people. When you look at it and define it that way, then you'll see what it has become. Alright. We talk about paper terrorism and this, that, here, and there. But is it truly paper terrorism from the people? Or is it the government? Y'all decide. Alright, let's go ahead and start on this. It's still a long video because I kept on interrupting this. And here we go.
License suspension and administrative actions. Wow, these people are something fucking special, guys. I hope you're paying attention to what I'm telling you here. You are not contracting with the DMV, ladies and gentlemen. You are contracting with the American Association of Motor Vehicles Administration, who has allowed the DMV to come up underneath them. The DMV makes a private cooperative agreement with the state to enforce the motor vehicle code that you have subjected yourself to, because you are now part of the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. That right there, where you're getting your driver's license and all that shit, has nothing to do with the state and everything to do with the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. Let's see here. Hold on. Policy position on certificate of origin. This is an interesting one. This was in 2014 by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, policy position on certificates of origin. Remember I told you, you don't own your automobile unless you actually have the certificate of origin? Well, hold on a second. It's the policy of the AAMVA that a certificate of origin, CO, be required for conveying ownership of all new vehicles. Well, what do you think the Secretary of State does? They collect them MCOs and MSOs, and they send them to the AAMVA. All right? The CO should be uniform in all jurisdictions, and when printed, conform to the standards set forth in Appendix B. AAMVA also urges manufacturers of motive and non-motive powered vehicles to adopt.
Alright, so sit and think about this. Some of y'all may see these videos trying to track down, and they say the state has the original title to your car. But when you buy a brand new car, the original title going to the Secretary of State and to this corporation. They own your car. Alright? So now we actually know where it's getting sent to. And dare I say it, people that's in the car salesmen out there, if you may hear this or not, knock it off. When somebody goes up there and buys that car from you, they get the original title. Not the frickin' country, not frickin' state, and not from this frickin' corporation.
A standard machine readable certificate of origin utilizing the appropriate American National Standard Institution ANSI standard that provides the criteria for character, set, and print quality for optical character recognition. AAMVA recommends that the vendors of the Uniform Certificate of Origin be instructed that applicants who wish to purchase uniform CO documents must furnish verification from the AAMVA member jurisdiction that the applicant is recognized as a bona fide manufacturer or distributor before the order can be accepted. In the interest of reducing fraud and vehicle theft, it is the policy of the AAMVA that manufacturers use standardized codes when transmitting CO data electronically. In accordance with the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System specifications, AAMVA transmission of all CO data, special emphasis should be placed on vehicles make, series, model, body type, and major and minor colors. AAMVA supports the cooperation of manufacturers, the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and if necessary, U.S. Congress to promote this policy. Again, the American...
Shouldn't think about that, y'all. I mean, they appreciate the... I don't know what to say about that. Corporation, right? From the people that you put in the office to protect your rights, and they sign a contract to be able to steal your crap. Oh, so we can prevent fraud. To prevent fraud? Really? AAMVA? To prevent fraud? You just committed it.
Association of Motor Vehicles Administration is a private, non-profit, non-governmental organization, ladies and gentlemen. What the fuck are they doing creating all these policies and enforcing them? And why is the government in bed with them? Furthermore, all right? Now, we all know under Title 28, 3002, 15A, that the federal government is a corporation. That explains Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, the outer minor lying islands, Guam, Samoa, Puerto Rico, all that good fun shit, right? But they're single-handedly, without fully disclosing to you, stealing your private fucking property under the guise that you have to register with them. Check this shit out. Policy position of all driver pointer system.
So we think about this. So basically, the president is the CEO, but they give their next employee down the list all the responsibility, which is this corporation, AAMCVA, right? So now they get to make up all the bylaws. The president's hands are clean from Walmart, which the president from our country hands are clean from we the people. And there is no recourse, remedies of these corporations because you don't know who the hell they are. Whoops. And then I have it on another video, y'all. Check out Chris and all on one of my videos of the new Supreme Court saying that you cannot get remedies, you cannot sue them. Because the Supreme Court is backstabbing little cheating little bitches. I better keep going.
Policy position, admissibility of evidence of non-use of safety belt mitigation. Policy position on acceptable identification documents. Let's just see what this is. This was 2/15/2013. All right. It's talking about what is acceptable identification. Any applicant for an original or initial driver's license or identification card shall be required to submit at least one of the primary documents containing the applicant's verifiable full name and date of birth. All right. So the DMV didn't come up with all this shit. The state didn't come up with all this shit. These motherfuckers came up with all this shit. They found a way. I guarantee you this is a bunch of lawyers and fucking judges that came up with essentially a private member's...
I second most of that because attorneys has their hands on every little bitty thing in your life. You can't even step 10 feet without realizing an attorney had something to do with it. We got, what, 80 million about 80 million laws, bylaws of all creatures to take your rights away, and there's just no way in the world that we can know all them laws, and they don't even know them all. Alright.
Association or nonprofit organization to unjustly enrich themselves by enforcing policies that otherwise wouldn't apply to you. Because remember, the states, along with the federal government, cannot force you to get a license. It cannot convert a right into a privilege and issue a fucking license for it and charge a fee. All right. Otherwise, you have the right to engage in it with impunity. All right. Policy position on aamva customer service commitment. The Motor Vehicle Agency of member jurisdiction are committed to responding to customers' needs in an efficient, courteous, and professional manner. They're not talking about you, ladies and gentlemen. They're talking about their business deeds and dealings with the government and or other agencies. They're not talking about you being a customer. You're just a fucking slave who didn't read the fucking fine print. They're talking about their business buddies, all right? It is the position of the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, AAMVA, who also operates in Canada and Mexico, that all jurisdictional members developed customer service standards that focus on improving customer satisfaction, enhancing service delivery standards, and employment empowerment. AAMVA fully supports the developments of training programs designed to keep employees of motor vehicle agencies apprised of new programs, technologies, policies, procedures, and laws that impact the delivery of services to the motoring public. It is further the position of the AAMVA that all motor vehicle agencies coordinate and develop user-friendly technologies, educational materials, and outreach programs that enhance customer service deliveries through other means. AAMVA seeks to promote the concept that motor vehicle agencies strive to promote customer service principles, information sharing about customer service enhancements, and encourage all member jurisdictions to recognize their employees who deliver excellent service to their internal and external customers. Okay, to serve and protect the AAMVA, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't to serve and protect you, it's to serve and protect their interests. Now hold on, there's one in here about traffic tickets. I want to pull it up. Policy position on all driver pointer systems, policy position, alternative license plate standards, policy position on automated traffic enforcement, policy positions on certificate of origins, charge reductions, Commercial Motor Carrier Safety, Commercial Motor Carrier Safety Alliance, Commercial Vehicle Declared Gross Weight, Comprehensive Highway Safety, cooperation with legislators. Look, they got. Let's read this. This was in 1990. The policy position on cooperation with legislators. The AA, which are all lawyers, by the way, just like I suspected, the lawyers are in on this shit. AAMVA believes that legislators should be kept informed about the goals and objectives of the Motor Vehicle Agency, as well as the goals and objectives of the AAMVA, a non-profit, non-governmental organization. The association quarterly invites members of the legislative body up,
telling our legislature what they can and cannot do. Think about that, y'all. You're voting for these people to come in and protect your rights, and they're passing laws to protect this corporation taking your rights, and all you guys can think of is whether you're going to pick a Democrat or a Republican when they're in cahoots. I've told you in other videos. Alright? They're actors in front of your face, but they're playing kissy face behind the closed doors.
Its member jurisdiction to attend AAMVA regional and annual international conferences. It further urges such legislators to make part in our deliberation and to cooperate in our efforts to secure uniform motor vehicle.
Cooperate with us. Well, I know what the cops are saying to us, to them. Oh, so we're supposed to cooperate with the cops, so the cops can cooperate with the legislator, so the legislator can cooperate with them. That is their freaking business.
Vehicle and traffic laws needed recipro- reciprocity authority and other matters necessary to better service the monitoring public. AAMVA also urges the formation of regional groups to promote closer working relationships and understandings between motor vehicle and traffic law enforcement officials and members of the legislature. All right, let's see what else they're involved in. Cooperation with agencies and organizations. Let's see what this one says. This was done in 1990. Policy positions on cooperation with other agencies and organizations. What other agencies are they talking about? I'll guarantee you that's the sheriff and the police department, state patrol, game and parks. All right. AAMVA appreciates and values the assistance of agencies and public information media engaged in conducting programs designed to protect motorists and pedestrians. Oh, don't they make that sound oh so fucking nice? As well as facilitate the movement of vehicles with safety and convenience. The association urges all member jurisdictions and the staffs of their representative agencies to fully cooperate with these agencies and organizations. The AAMVA recognizes the value of the public support groups in traffic safety programs and considers it a duty of the state and provincial leaders to take the initiative in the establishment of such groups, as well as to stimulate the interest and activity existing in our groups. These are all private. This is all private shit. Position on crash prevention, data and information exchange, data driver approach to crime and traffic safety, driver's education, driver's license compact, driver's license suspension, drivers under the influence of alcohol and drugs, position on exchange of driver's records, position on financial recognition, position on federal motorist carrier safety legislation, position on federally owned vehicles, position on federally owned vehicles certificate of release, position on general driver's license policies, position on general information technologies, position on law enforcement policies. Let's see what the law enforcement policies is. This was enacted in 2018. Policies position on general law enforcement policies. AAMVA, again, the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, recommends that member jurisdictions continuously review their highway safety programs to ensure a uniform policy on enforcement and crash investigation, which includes continued aggressive and effective enforcement of all traffic laws, deployment of enforcement personnel using a data-driven approach to crime and traffic safety DDACTS model to patrol identified high crash carryots, see related DDACTS policy, combining enforcement efforts with education and effective driver improvement programs, adoption of the U.S. DOT Minimum Model Uniform Crash Criteria, MMUCC 5th edition. Let's see what else these little fuckers got their hands in. Graduated driver's license system, gray market vehicle model year determination, position on...
For them truck drivers out there, this is the reason why now you had to take classes, I bet you. I don't have first-hand knowledge of it, but they're controlling all the CDLs and your driving record. I guess now you know where your driving records go. I guess you know who came up with these policy / laws that you must take these classes instead of actually learning from non-school drivers.
On image exchange, position on inspection, position on interdisciplinary cooperation. Let's see what that is. That was enacted in 1995 for everybody that's participating in the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. Policy position on interdisciplinary cooperation. AAMVA supports and encourages the cooperation and exchange of information among motor vehicle administrators, law enforcement officials, highway engineers, revenue officials, and other related agencies in the interest of the highway safety. Such cooperation efforts should include some of the following activities: forums at a state, provincial, and local levels for the exchange of information and ideas relating to improved highway safety through through roadway design, traffic flow, and control measures and enforcement strategies. 2, efforts to work for standardization of data elements, definitions, and reporting for data collected at a national and international level and used by all jurisdictions. And 3, participation with national and international traffic safety organizations in the development of national and international traffic safety goals. That always makes shit sound so...
Now you see why, when you get your license canceled in California, New York knows about it. Texas knows about it. Idaho knows about it. There's this little corporation here.
Polite, don't they? Position on issuance of identification cards. Position on laser radar detectors and cell phone applications. Let's see what this says. Yeah, I wish I would have read this before my trial. This is funny. All right. Policy position on laser and radar detectors and cell phone application apps. AAMVA, again, that's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, opposes the manufacture and sale of electronic devices used by individuals in motor vehicles to detect the presence of jam the signal from speed measuring equipment in use by law enforcement. Of course they would, because every time the law enforcement issues one of those securities, the AAMVA gets a piece of that fucking pie. So of course they're talking to your legislators about fucking making sure that kind of equipment isn't generally accessible by private individuals. The AAMVA also opposes the development and use of cell phone apps that allow individuals to determine specific location where law enforcement officers are working. AAMVA supports concurrent jurisdiction between federal and state agencies to the enforcement of laws that prohibit manufacturers and sale of such devices and apps. Now remember, back in the day, a couple years back, before 2019, there actually was an app that if you were on it, all your friends that were traveling down the highway would tell you where the cops were. They would just touch a button on their phone, and it would indicate where the cop was sitting or whatever and what direction he was facing. Now, you notice after 2019, that app became obsolete. It was made no longer in force and effect. Well, here's why. Because the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, we were cutting into their fucking payday, ladies and gentlemen, by identifying where cops were sitting on the side of the road to enforce the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators enforcement policies. All right, so they took the...
Yeah, same thing about that, y'all. There was an app out there to actually to protect yourself by any means necessary. And so now they pretty much wiped that app out. So that way, once again, the government has some type of upper against you, and you cannot protect yourself.
In 2019 to make it so no manufacturer could manufacture a device that would jam the laser or signal or...
Who in the world has jurisdiction to say you can and cannot have a corporation, a business? Whoever came up with this app had every right to come up with the app. You know why? Because they have a right to own a business.
Or help a traveler or motor vehicle operator detect the presence of law enforcement on the side of the road running radar. Now, how is it these motherfuckers have that much power that they can get a hold of the legislator and say, hey, we would like this implemented? Just think about that for a second. Think about that. That's because the legislator's in on it. These people are getting paid by fleecing us. All right. Policy position on leased vehicles, policy position on license plates. Let's see what they say. This was done in 2013, 12/12/2013, so December 12, 2013. Policy position on license plates. Again, this is an American Association of Motor Vehicle Administration. They are a private, non-profit, non-governmental organization who contracts or who the government contracts with, okay? And not just in the United States of America, but Canada, 10 provinces in Canada, in like 3 territories, and then includes Mexico as well. Let's look at this. Policy position on license plates. License plates serve one common purpose: to identify motor vehicles. Across jurisdictions, hold on. Across jurisdictions, they also identify vehicle registration and demonstrate compliance with the motor vehicle registration laws. Again, these motor vehicle registration laws are enacted or put in place by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administration, and they're enforced by the DMV. Well, they're enforced by local law enforcement, okay, who are contracting with these motherfuckers, okay? And again, it's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administration, and then it's a huge umbrella nonprofit organization who the DMV is contracting with, and then the DMV goes into private cooperative agreements with the state for enforcement. Through the use of bright, reflective surface license plates contribute to highway safety and law enforcement efforts by making the vehicle more visible. aamva supports the...
Okay, if you sit and think about this, right? Road tax. Okay? It's supposed to help take care of the road. Right? But somehow or another we get government funding, that's, once again, is from our tax dollars, because they are spending too much money spreading out the money with these tickets instead of putting it to our highways. Right? So the lawyer's going to get a piece, the judge is going to get a piece, this other corporation is getting a piece, and we don't even know how much of it they actually get. By the time it gets down to the highways, they don't have enough money. So guess what? Oh, Mr. President, could you give us some money? Because we got all these contracts out and we can't make any money.
Horizontal display of a front and rear plate and the uniform manufacture and design of the plate to increase the effective and efficient identification of the plate.
I know there's a couple of people out there once before looking for the tags to be able to do a private tag from the state, and the one I'm particularly talking about is the state of Texas, right? They went to go investigate, see if they can get one of them tags exemption, kind of like what the cops have, and he couldn't really find one or anything like that. Because he's not in bed with this corporation, and they probably had to run it through this corporation and had these special tags handed down.
Jurisdictions are encouraged to adopt the best practice identified in the AAMVA's License Plate Reader Program Best Practice Guide. Okay, so this is the AAMVA's. You want to know where all these license plate readers came from? These aren't the gun-toting morons' ideas with an IQ of fucking 70. It's this motherfucking organization right here. Okay, that you entered into a contract with. You need to stop your contract with these fucks, because they're not enforcing the law. They're enforcing private policy that you contracted on with. The use of the common characteristics and predictable design on license plates will enhance reliability, usability, and connection to vehicle registration records. It will also support law enforcement efforts and highway safety. You want to know why it'll support law enforcement efforts and highway safety? Because they're trained to say, well, where are you coming from? Your plate isn't from this state, and the state you're coming from is known to be a high drug trafficking state. So now we got to pull you out of your vehicle. We got reasonable suspicion, probable cause. You know, if you didn't have that fucking plate on there, chances are you wouldn't be pulled over. You want to know why? Because most people don't break the fucking rules of the road. Most people obey the signs. But when you got a plate from Colorado and you happen to be in Nebraska, guess what? Even if you're obeying all the rules, they're still going to stop you because, well, that plate indicates that you come from an area that's a high drug trafficking source. And so naturally we have an inclination to stop you. So we're going to pull you over even if you're not breaking the law. We're going to make something up. We're going to say your blinker wasn't working. You got a tail light out, all this shit. Because they're always trained to escalate to either a DUI or a drug interdiction traffic stop, okay? They're not stopping you for simple shit. They're all...
Look at the car rentals, y'all. Think about that.
Always trained to escalate, okay? They always tell people after 9 o'clock at night, Those are the only two reasons you're stopping people. To find out whether they're under the influence of alcohol or to find out whether or not they're mules. And may increase certain revenue collection. Oh, look, they're even so bold to just tell you why the license plate is needed. And may increase certain revenue collection, which is dependent upon license plate identification. Of course it is, because just like I explained to you just a moment ago, if you're coming from fucking Florida and you're passing through Indiana, they're going to say that, you know, Florida is a high trafficking area for drugs, and now we have reasonable suspicion to believe that you are transporting narcotics from Florida to Indiana. But if you didn't have that identification plate, the only thing they'd be able to do is look at you and go, well, I don't know whether he's from Indiana or not. He's not speeding. He's not breaking the law. There's no reason to follow him. But because you have a plate, it's going to help, and they even say right here, and may increase certain revenue collection. How about that? Such as toll collection and parking regulations. All right, let's see what else. That was license.
May increase revenue collection so they can get a bigger piece of the pie. But meanwhile, you states, you got to pay me. So therefore, you got to bum money off the federal government, off the taxpayers again.
Plate. Position on license plates should not be obscured. Position on license plates, position on licensings of business engaged in motor vehicle related activities. Position on medical reporting. Position on model year and title registration records. Let's see what they got to say about that. That was in 2016, 9/23/2016. Position on model year and title registration records. Let's see what these scumbags are fucking doing behind the scenes here. All right, again, this is the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. It is not the DMV, in fact, that you're contracting with. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, which is a private, non-profit organization that is non-governmental, and somehow they're meeting with your legislators and enforcing this shit. AAMVA recommends that effective with the 1983 model year jurisdiction title or registration procedure for passenger cars, trucks, and motorcycles, other than multi-stag manufactured vehicles such as motorhomes, should include an electronic comparison using a VIN decoder product of the caption model year with the model year code contained in the vehicle identification number as shown on the certificate of origin, new vehicle information statement, bill of sale, or dealer report of sale. The association further recommends that if the caption model year in the documents or electronic records differ from the model year code in the VIN, the title or registration of the vehicle should be withheld until the document or electronic records are corrected as may be provided for by the law or regulations of the jurisdiction. Well, fuck you guys. I don't want to be a part of your association. This is the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. All right? Again, they're private, non-profit, non-government organization. And they are somehow running Canada, Mexico, and all of the United States, including the District of Columbia, the Mariana Islands, Guam, Puerto Rico, and everything. And you think for a second that the judges and the fucking lawyers aren't behind this, and they're not profiting handsomely through the DMV and the state enforcing this shit? Now it makes a lot more sense why the prosecuting attorney, who happens to be a lawyer, a member of the Bar Association for the state, who's in cahoots with the American Bar Association, who has been deemed to be a communist party hell-bent on destroying the Constitution and the American way of life and leading us into communism, is enforcing this shit. Policy position on non-resident vehicle dealer license. Policy position on non-resident violators compact.